Imagine for a moment if an NBA superstar's multi-million-dollar contract was just, poof, voided, mid-season. Can you picture the kind of chaos that would unleash?
Absolute mayhem.
Well, you don't have to imagine for long because we're diving deep into that exact kind of wild scenario today, plus some other really fascinating stuff bubbling up across the NBA.
Yeah, lots going on.
Today, we're hitting 5 key topics that have the league buzzing. We want to give you the insights you need to be, really informed. We're talking a Clippers star's future, some management trouble out west.
A potential breakout guy in Miami.
Exactly. A surprising backup plan maybe brewing in Chicago, and a vet point guard finding a new spot.
And it's all about connecting the dots, really. Each story, a contract, a front office, a young player, it all ripples outwards,
Definitely.
We'll try to look past just the headlines, get into the what and the why, maybe offer up some surprising facts or just a different way to think about these things.
Okay, let's tackle that wild hypothetical first, because like I said, maybe not so hypothetical anymore. John Hollinger's reporting, it suggests the NBA might actually void Kawhi Leonard's contract with the Clippers.
Yeah, this is the big one right now.
It feels huge. I mean, is this a real possibility?
Well, the reporting suggests it is, and what's really fascinating, or maybe alarming, is the scale of what's being alleged here.
Right.
We're talking, according to Hollinger, a slow drip of circumstantial evidence. It points towards cap circumvention.
Which is basically cheating the salary cap system, finding illegal ways around it.
Exactly. And the suspected method, a no-show endorsement deal with a company called Aspiration, a company that's now bankrupt.
Bankrupt. Okay, that adds a wrinkle.
It does, makes things complicated. But the league is reportedly looking hard at the timing and the amounts of investments made by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer and minority owner Dennis Wong into Aspiration.
The idea being the money flowed from them through Aspiration to Kawhi in a way that wasn't allowed.
That seems to be the implication Hollinger's outlining. Described as clearly suspicious, even if they don't have that smoking gun email or memo explicitly saying, do this.
Okay, so Adam Silver, the commissioner, he has very broad powers in situations like this. Historically, the league can come down hard. What kind of draconian punishment are we potentially looking at here?
Right, so the CBA gives him a lot of latitude. Fines are almost certain if they're found guilty. Maybe $7.5 million for the Clippers, $350,000 for Leonard.
Which, let's be honest, for Ballmer is... well, Hollinger called it a parking ticket.
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't really move the needle for him financially. Suspending Ballmer is also on the table, maybe for up to a year. Similar to what happened with Glenn Taylor and the Timberwolves in the Joe Smith case back in the day.
I remember that. That was huge.
It was. But the real hammer, the precedent that everyone points to, is losing draft picks. The T-Wolves lost 5 first-rounders. 5.
Wow. And the Clippers. How many picks do they even have left after all those trades?
That's the thing. They only have 5 first-round picks remaining outright, 2030, 2031, 2032, plus swaps in 27 and 29. Losing all of those, that would cripple their future building ability for years. They could potentially lose second-rounders, too.
Okay, fines, suspensions, lost picks.
Yeah.
Serious stuff. But the part that really makes your head spin, the biggest, ugliest, most confounding part, as Hollinger puts it, is voiding the contract itself.
This is where it gets really, really interesting and messy.
Can they even do that? Just rip up a max contract mid-season?
It's technically the most direct penalty listed in the CBA for this kind of violation, but it's incredibly problematic. Like, is it really a punishment for the Clippers?
How so? I mean, losing Kawhi seems bad.
Well, yes and no. He's due $50 million next year. He's obviously an amazing player when he plays, but he misses so much time. If that contract vanishes...
they suddenly have max cap space in 2026.
Exactly. They could completely pivot to a new roster. Or, and this is the wild part Hollinger throws out, they could try and poach LeBron James. Imagine that.
Okay, so it punishes the alleged circumvention, but potentially rewards the team with a massive competitive advantage down the line.
Yeah.
That feels wrong.
It's a potential perverse incentive, absolutely. And then there's the mechanics. Does that $50 million cap hit stay on their books, even without the player?
Like a phantom salary.
Sort of. The double jeopardy scenario, Hollinger calls it. And the CBA isn't super clear on that specific outcome. If it stays, it's a massive hit. If it disappears, well, you just handed them a huge amount of flexibility.
And what about Kawhi himself? If he's suddenly an unrestricted free agent mid-season, can't re-sign with the Clippers? The mayhem that could cause.
Oh, just imagine. Competitive balance goes out the window. What if he just says, okay, I like LA, I'll sign with the Lakers for the minimum?
Every other owner would be absolutely howling, right? The league might try to drag this investigation out, maybe the offseason, just to avoid that kind of mid-season chaos and playoff race distortion.
So picks lost, maybe Ballmer suspended. Those feel likely if they're found guilty. But the contract, that's the real nail-biter. That's the real question. It has the potential for hugely distorting effects no matter which way it goes. It's unprecedented territory, really.
Okay, shifting gears from a potential contract implosion to maybe more slow burn management issues.
Yeah.
Let's talk Sacramento Kings. ESPN's recent NBA Future Power Rankings, they weren't kind.
No, not kind at all. If you look at the big picture, ESPN ranked them 25th overall out of 30 teams. That's a drop from 18th just last year.
And the real gut punch seemed to be the management category.
Dead last, 30th out of 30. And that includes the front office, the coaching situation, ownership, the whole organizational structure.
Which is stunning when you think about it. ESPN's explanation was pretty blunt. 2 years ago, Mike Brown is Coach of the Year, Monty McNair is Executive of the Year. They win 48 games, get the third seed.
Yeah, the beam was lit. Everyone was excited.
Right. And now, 2 straight play-in losses. Brown is gone. McNair is gone. They even traded De'Aaron Fox eventually. That's a rapid fall from grace.
It really is. So the question becomes, where's the hope? What are the positives moving forward?
Well, ESPN pointed to cap space and financial flexibility. They do control their own draft picks for the next 7 years, plus some extras.
Which is good. Assets are key. But that's counterbalanced by their low market ranking 27th. Historically, Sacramento hasn't been a top free agent destination.
So having cap space is one thing, but actually attracting stars to fill it is another challenge entirely, especially with that management ranking hanging over them.
Exactly. It points to maybe a cycle where instability at the top impacts their ability to bring in talent, which keeps them, struggling.
Now, speaking of talent they might covet, there were reports linking them to Jonathan Kuminga from the Warriors. How does his contract situation over in Golden State affect any hopes Sacramento might have had?
Kuminga. Yeah, his situation is interesting in its own right. The Warriors apparently offered him a deal, 3 years, about $75 million. But the key part is a team option for that third year.
Meaning the Warriors decide if they keep him for year 3.
Correct. And the thinking is they want that control so they can potentially use his contract as a tradable asset down the line. Maybe package him to go star hunting for someone like Giannis if he ever became available.
Okay, makes sense for Golden State. But Kuminga.
Kuminga, reports say, wants a player option. He wants the control over that third year, and he's apparently willing to bet on himself, sign the 1-year, $8 million qualifying offer instead.
Which comes with a no-trade clause, right?
Yeah.
And makes him an unrestricted free agent next summer.
Exactly. Gives him all the leverage. So he's basically saying, give me the player option, or I'll take the qualifying offer and walk next year.
So for Kings fans who might have seen Kuminga as a potential target, what does this standoff mean?
Mostly, it's probably bad news in the short term. If Kuminga signs any extension with the Warriors, even one with a player option, the Kings are likely out.
Why is that?
Because Sacramento just doesn't have the kind of win-now talent the Warriors would want back in a trade for Kuminga right now. They're rebuilding.
Gotcha. So the only real path for the Kings is
if the Warriors play hardball, Kuminga refuses the extension, signs that qualifying offer, and then the Kings try to lure him as an unrestricted free agent a year from now.
a long shot, basically.
A very long shot. Depends entirely on how stubborn both sides are in Golden State.
Okay, so Kuminga might be off the table for the Kings, but interestingly, the Chicago Bulls are apparently keeping an eye on him, too, as like a pretty sizable backup plan for the summer of 2026 if Coby White leaves.
Yeah, that report surfaced. Kuminga as a plan B if Coby White walks in free agency down the line.
Does Kuminga even make sense for the Bulls? There seems to be some skepticism there.
There is, quite a bit, actually. One perspective floating around is that he just doesn't make sense stylistically for Chicago, especially if their young guy, Modis, develops, and if they manage to keep Coby White anyway.
Well, the bad fit.
Kuminga is often described as a ball-stopping player. He needs the ball to create his own shot. That doesn't really mesh well with Josh Giddey, who they just acquired, who also needs the ball and thrives on ball movement.
And didn't Steve Kerr kind of struggle to play Kuminga consistently for that reason? His off-ball game?
That's the narrative, yeah. That Kerr wasn't always comfortable playing him big minutes because he wasn't as effective without the ball in his hands. Plus, Kuminga's reportedly looking for a big payday, maybe around $30 million a year.
Okay, so if he costs $30 million and might not fit their offensive philosophy, especially with Giddey, What's the alternative if Kobe White does leave in 26?
Well, the name that got thrown out as a potential, maybe more logical alternative is Cam Thomas from the Nets.
Cam Thomas. Interesting. Why him?
He's set to be an unrestricted free agent next summer, so the timing could work. And the thinking is he's a guy who can catch and shoot. He can play off ball more effectively than Kuminga. He doesn't need the ball in his hands quite as much to score.
So a better fit stylistically.
Yeah.
And maybe cheaper.
Potentially. Reports suggest he might be looking for something in the $22 million range. So you save some money compared to Kuminga. Now, Thomas can be an ISO guy. He has those elite fourth quarters where it's everybody get out of Cam's way.
Yeah, he can definitely slow it up.
Absolutely. But the view is he's also capable of playing team ball for 3 quarters before taking over if needed. So maybe more adaptable to different lineups and game flows.
It definitely sounds like the Bulls have some complex calculus ahead, weighing talent versus fit versus cost. Lots of moving parts for their front office.
For sure. Building a coherent roster is tough.
All right, let's shift focus down to Miami. The Heat and their young forward, Nikola Jovic. He's flashed some serious potential. Is this the year he makes a real leap?
Jovic. Yeah, he's probably the ultimate wild card for the Heat this season. If Miami wants to, exceed expectations, maybe make a real playoff run, they kind of need him to be good.
Why is he so crucial?
Because there's really no backfill for him at that bigger forward center spot other than Bam Adebayo and maybe some minutes from Kevin Love, who isn't getting any younger. Jovic brings a size and skill combination they don't otherwise have much of.
He definitely has that versatility and potential you don't see in many guys his size. So what does a genuine leap actually look like for him? What needs to happen?
Well, his performance in Eurobasket a while back was really encouraging. Averaged almost 13 points, shot the lights out, like 60% from the field, 52% from 3, 92% from the line. Just absurd splits.
Okay.
But he was often playing off Nikola Jokic there. The NBA is different. For him to make that leap in the league, 2 things seem absolutely crucial.
Okay, what are they?
1, just playing games, staying on the court. His first 3 seasons, he played 15 games, then 46, then 46 again last year. He needs to show he can handle the grind, play through some of this stuff, build that physical maturity, kind of like Tyler Herro did before his breakout.
Right. Availability is the best ability, as they say. What's number 2?
Rebounding. Plain and simple. His rebound rate actually went down with more minutes last season, which is not what you want to see. Averaged under 4 rebounds in 25 minutes a game.
Yeah, that's pretty low for a guy his size getting those minutes.
It is. He just has to get better there. Needs to be stronger, more physical, more assertive on the glass. It's not just about skill. It's about imposing himself physically.
So it's less about just making more shots, although that's good too, and more about a qualitative improvement, being more consistently available, being tougher on the boards. What kind of stat line would signal that leap?
Exactly. It's about becoming a more complete player. If you saw his numbers jump to something like, say, 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, up from roughly 11, 4, and 3 last year, that would be significant.
That feels like a realistic jump, but a meaningful one.
It would make him a real swing factor for Miami, kind of like a Naz Reid type impact for the Timberwolves. A versatile big who can score, rebound, make plays, and really change the team's dynamic.
And how can Coach Spoelstra help unlock that?
Spo can definitely leverage that versatility,
Yeah.
Use him in an up-tempo offense, let him handle the ball sometimes, make plays, not just park him in the corner. Even though he's apparently elite shooting from the corners, like 47, 48%, you got to use the whole package.
Especially since it's a contract year for Jovic too, right?
Yeah.
Adds another layer of motivation.
Huge motivation. Big year for him personally and for the Heat's hopes.
Okay, last stop for today. Let's talk about Dennis Schroder. Veteran point guard, bounced around a bit lately, 3 teams just last season. He landed with the Sacramento Kings. What did he show last year, and how does he fit there?
Schroeder's interesting. His impact, especially during his brief playoff stint with the Pistons, was actually incredible. He was hitting crazy shots, playing really tough, incredible defense on Jalen Brunson at times.
I remember that series. He was feisty.
He was, and even in the regular season with Detroit, he made a difference. They were clearly better when he was on the floor as the backup point guard. The team improved by plus 1.3 points per 100 possessions when he ran the show without Cade Cunningham, compared to being -4 before he arrived.
What are his strengths? What does he bring?
He takes care of the ball, really low turnover rate, like 1.3 per game, which is great for a guard who handles it a lot. And he's still got that ability to get to the rim, collapse the defense, which then opens up these playmaking angles. People forget he had 12 assists in both the Eurobasket semifinal and final a couple of years back. The playmaking is real.
Okay, so he lands in Sacramento, gets a 3-year deal, and seems to be penciled in as the starter. But given the Kings' recent turmoil we discussed and his history,
Mm-hmm.
i- is this the right fit? Can he be their long-term starting point guard?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The confidence level for him being a successful starter there for 3 whole years, maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Not exactly brimming with confidence. Why the hesitation?
Look, he's proven he's a really good backup point guard, maybe one of the best in the league, but asking him to play 30-plus minutes every night as the starter, year after year, that raises concerns about efficiency maybe dipping, about him wearing down physically over the season.
And he has bounced around a lot.
He has, and often it's because he's seen as fine but not great, usually on tradable contracts. And a big part of it is he genuinely wants to be a starter. Sacramento is giving him that chance, but history suggests it's a tough role for him to sustain at a high level for 82 games.
Makes sense. But what about intangibles? We talked about the Kings maybe lacking some fire. Schroder has a reputation, loud personality, swagger. He'll talk quite a bit. Could that be what they actually need?
I think that's a huge potential positive, actually. He was apparently loved in Detroit for exactly that. His vibrant personality, his cockiness on the court, his willingness to get chippy and stand up for teammates.
Yeah, they need someone to get chippy.
They really do. Remember the De'Aaron Fox incident last year where Sabonis got stomped and the team's reaction was kind of muted? Schroeder brings fire, he brings positivity, but also accountability. He might be the guy to help that team learn how to push back. That could be incredibly valuable for their culture.
That cultural fit might be just as important as the on-court stuff for them right now.
Okay, one last quick thing related to the Kings and guard's Malik Monk. There are rumors of him going to Detroit in a sign-and-trade. Why didn't that happen?
Simple answer seems to be contract length and team philosophy. The Pistons GM is reportedly focused on maintaining 2027 off-season cap flexibility, so they're prioritizing 1 or 2-year deals right now.
And Monk got a longer deal from the Kings.
Exactly. He signed a 3-year deal with Sacramento, reportedly with a player option. That longer contract was likely the main reason Detroit wasn't interested.
Does that say anything broader about the league or maybe about Monk?
It might reflect a bit of a trend where the market value for scoring guards who don't really play defense and don't really have size has maybe tanked a little bit compared to previous years. Teams are prioritizing versatility and defense more. For Sacramento, keeping Monk might just fit their timeline, or maybe new GM Scott Perry sees him differently than the previous regime, or maybe they just couldn't find a sign-and-trade partner they liked. Lots of layers to these decisions.
Always.
Well, from a contract potentially being voided to tricky roster fits and management shakeups, it's never dull in the NBA offseason, is it? These deep dives really show how much the off-court strategy impacts everything we see on the court.
Absolutely. And what stands out is just how interconnected it all is. You know, the Kawhi situation impacts the Clippers' future, which impacts the Western Conference. Kuminga's decision impacts the Warriors, but also potentially the Kings or Bulls. Jovic's development changes Miami's ceiling. Every move creates ripples.
It really makes you think about the long game, the strategic chess match these teams are playing constantly.
For sure.
So what does this all mean for you watching the league? Which of these situations do you think ends up being the most surprising? Does Kawhi actually hit free agency midseason? Can the Kings turn it around despite those management rankings? We've laid out the details, the context. Now you can analyze these storylines and form your own informed takes. Check out our other episodes.